Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Rashid Shahrul from BA 2432B. I would like to thank to Madam Nur Hafiza for giving me the opportunity to present today, and I hope you have a great day today. So today I'm going to present about the analysis of corporate financial performance, and I will explain briefly about the trend analysis and cross-sectional analysis between the two companies that I have chosen, which are Padini Holdings Berhad and Cheetah Holdings Berhad. To begin, I would like to introduce for the company background first. First of all, is Padini Holdings Berhad. Padini Holdings Berhad is the largest fashion brand industry, started its first operations in 1971 that focused on a small business women's apparel and wholesalers to departmental stores in Malaysia. And further, in 1975, Padini officially entered in the retail industry and focused on its operations as a retailers and distributors. For your information, Padini has two main levels that represent its company, which are known as Padini Concept Store and Brands Outlet. They also has another 8 prominent brands, which are Padini, Seed, Padini Authentics, PDI, P&Co, Miki, Vinci, and Vinci Accessories. Padini also provide a wide range of products that suit for everyone, men's and women's from all ages. They are offering from wear, fashion wear, shoes, accessories, and various fashion items. The next company will be Cheetah Holdings Berhad. Cheetah Holdings Berhad, is the most national brand, started its first operations in 1977 that focused only for sportswear trading activity. But then in 1979, Cheetah's brand was officially introduced as sports fashion brand. For your information, Cheetah Holdings Berhad has 3 subsidiaries, which include Cheetah Corporation Sdn Berhad, Cheetah Realty Sdn Berhad, and Cheetah Marketing Sdn Berhad. Cheetah has 2 international licensed brands, which are Ladybird and GQ. They also have another brands include Cheetah Junior, Cheetah Ladies, C Union, CTH Unlimited, C2 United, CTH Ladies, and Baby Cheetah. Cheetah also provide a wide range of sports and fashion items that covering all ages from infants to adults from both genders. Okay. Now, I will briefly explain about the trend analysis of Padini Holdings Berhad. As shown in the graph, you can see from liquidity ratio, Padini has good performance of current ratio from 2018 to 2020 compared to quick ratio, in which remains consistent from 2019 to 2020. The next is activity ratio. We can see from the performance of inventory turnover from 2018 to 2020, there is increase and decreased performance similar with the total assets turnover. Next, for the leverage ratio, Padini has poor performance for debt ratio, whereby they has highest debt in 2020, and the same applies in the time interest ratio. Profitability ratio by Padini shows the gross profit margin decreased in 2019, but then it is slightly increased in 2020 compared to the return on asset. The ratio shows it continues decrease from 2018 to 2020. Now we move to the trend analysis of Cheetah Holdings Berhad. From both the graph from liquidity ratio and hit ratio shows that Cheetah has increased ratio in 2019, then it decreased in performance in 2020. Move to the activity ratio. Cheetah's inventory turnover has increased in 2019, then it decreased in 2020 compared to the total assets turnover. The ratio in 2020 remains consistent as in 2018. Next, for the leverage ratio, Cheetah has acceptable percentage for debt ratio, whereby it decreased in 2019 and slightly increased in 2020 compared to its time interest earned. The ratio is not in the safe range due to the negative digit. Lastly, for profitability ratio by Cheetah shows that gross profit margin decreased in 2019, then it slightly increased in 2020 compared to the return on assets. The ratio continues to decrease from 2018 to 2020 and reached to negative digit. And now I will move to the next part, which is cross-sectional analysis between Padini Holdings Berhad and Cheetah Holdings Berhad. First of all, for liquidity ratio, we can see that Cheetah has better current ratio and quick ratio compared to Padini. This is because Cheetah has reached a high rate in 2020 for both liquidity ratio, and this shows that they have the ability to repay against their liabilities and meet the short-term obligation. However, the resulting ratio by Padini is still considered as a good liquidity ratio. Next will be activity ratio. The graph shows that this time Padini is at better ratio rather than Cheetah. This is because Padini has reached a high ratio in inventory turnover and total assets turnover, as they managed to have effectiveness in generating better sales of its inventory compared to Cheetah. For Cheetah's performance, it's shown that they in a poor performance as they in the lower ratio. Nice. For the leverage ratio, we can see that the percentage of debt ratio by Cheetah is better more than Padini, because the debt ratio indicates clearly that Padini has highest debt, and probably this matter will cause them a high risk. However, for time interest earned, Padini has a better performance compared to Cheetah. This is because Cheetah has a very lower rate, which is they reach a negative digit. This shows that Cheetah's performance is poor, and it will lead to a high tendency for the company to go bankrupt. Lastly will be profitability ratio. As we can see, for the gross profit margin and return on assets, Padini is at the better performance rather than Cheetah. This is because the graph from both ratio is showing Padini has a higher rate as they managed to earn a good return, while Cheetah is not in a better rate as they reach at a very lower ratio, especially for return on assets. As shown, Cheetah reached the negative digit due to their failure on generate a better return. And now I will move to the recommendations. First of all, based on my point of view, both companies, Padini and Cheetah, need to consider their financial management in order to have smooth financial position. For the recommendations, I would recommend for both companies to keep track, analyze, and improve their company's cash flow statement. This is because when both companies keep track and monitor its financial cash flows, it will help the companies to have early planning. The companies are also responsible to stay monitor the cash flow statement on a regular basis, as this is helpful for them to wisely manage their business money. Asking for overdue payments or partial payments on long-term contracts can be a cash flow improvement for both companies. This is because it helps increase their cash flow, and they can cover all their current business expenses or outstanding debts, so that they do not face a lot of debt and higher risk in their financial situation. By reducing business expenses, it helps the companies to control spending and be prepared for contingent costs that may arise. By optimizing their working capital, cost financing, simplify operations, and save cash, so that they can identify earlier to make sure that they can have sufficient cash balance to meet their expenses and debt commitments. Moreover, both companies can make debt consolidation in order to have a better rate of their interest. With debt consolidation, the companies can combine or convert its high interest debt into a single monthly payment, so that the company is at reduced interest rate, because this is because when the company refinancing their current debt and paying less interest, it helps to save money and allows them to pay off debt easily and more quickly. The next point is by creating a markdown price strategy. Markdown price strategy can help the companies managing and reducing the company's cost efficiently, and it is a great way for them to keep going on their operations and improve their financial position. Both companies can offering a low price of products if there is possible to do it. They may reduce the price of the product based on the company's inability to sell it at the starting price or the original selling price. From this method, we can see that it helps the companies to gain profit and convert their sales items into cash more quickly. After all the analysis made from both companies, what I can summarize are both companies have their own strengths and weaknesses through its operations and financial position. According to the evaluation between the trend analysis and cross-section analysis, we can see that both Padini and Cheetah started with good performance. However, after the following years, their performance declined slightly, which we can see in the analytical trend ratio from both companies. We can see that Padini and Cheetah still have a little improvement in its performance in 2020 compared to 2019. For instance, both companies' ratios performance is most likely getting better from 2018 to 2020. Meanwhile, in 2020, it's getting worse. From that point on, I can assume from that declining ratios, it is probably due to the pandemic of COVID-19, which is led to the occurrence of movement control order or MCO. To be concluded, based on the trend analysis from both companies, shows that there are improvements and declining of its operations from years to years. Besides for the cross-section analysis between both companies, I can identify that Padini is more slightly better performance rather than Cheetah. This is because most of Padini's financial ratios presenting a good and excellent performance compared to Cheetah. So I think I have finished my presentation, and that's all from me. Thank you, Madam Nur Hafiza, and have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.